Recording now. Now, if I can just get back to where I'm supposed to be. Okay, so I'm here now, and which doesn't mean anything to you because I'm not screen sharing yet. But you're going to see there today that it's going to be, we're going to kind of take things through a different filter. And is it difficult? No. No, it's not. It's nothing crazy. The everything is good for Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. Okay, but we're with the scientific aspect, like MDR, medical device reprocessing, and infection control, and all these kinds of things, right? The whole point of learning about bugs and bacteria and viruses and prions and fungi and gram staining and aseptic techniques and all these kinds of things is to protect people, right? So, oh man, and this is one of the things there with microbiologists, they tend to not like people. I like my bugs. I'm just, I like my bugs. Don't talk to me. I like my microorganisms, right? But there's the policy making. There's the governmental aspect, the committees, the organizations, the healthcare practices, the documentation, all these things. And you're going to see. And some aspects of today's class, you're just going to go, really? You're showing me this? But you're going to see this when you walk into hospitals and you see their policy mandates and directives and safety advisory committee. Man, a hospital has more committees than you know what to do with. Okay? And you're going to see it. Let's just try this out and have some fun. All right? And you're going to see here, it's kind of interesting. Now, let's screen share. Okay. Oh, and also on Blackboard there for the Week 7 folder, I included a little bit of Q&A. And I wanted to ask you guys, y'all have the books, right? And you know what I mean? You guys can turn your microphone on and say, yeah, or no, or in the comments, whatever. Okay. I'm sure, I'm pretty positive y'all have these. And the workbook here, I just want to know, can you guys, if anyone has the workbook close by, can you just check the back of the book? Because, like I've taken the course there before, and like there's actually a ministry course for this here, and like my book there from a long time ago, it has the answers in the back. And when Seneca sent me a copy of the textbook and the workbook from their end, the workbook that came from Seneca didn't have the answers in the back of the workbook. And I just want to know what copy you guys have, because you guys are the one paying the course, and if you guys don't have the answers to the workbook in the back of the then I'm going to give them to you, because you guys need the answers. You guys paid the money. What am I going to hold answers? So I'm just going to check the comment section here. The version I have that has the answers in the back. Okay, so Monica, you have the answers in the back. I just want to make sure that, okay. So you guys have the answers in the back. Okay, well, that makes me very happy then. Okay, and if you do not have the answers in the back of your workbook, that's the thin blue one here. Okay, because one of the workbooks there that Seneca sent me doesn't have the answers. So if you do not have the answers, okay, because as I said, this is it's not a textbook course. It's not. It's a PowerPoint course. Okay, but there are some, I've been looking through this, and there are some good things in here if I am selective. So that's where we're at. I'm glad to know that you guys had the answers, because the Week 7 question, there's a Q&A little Word document there that I posted, and I updated it. There was a couple of spelling mistakes there, so I just updated it there about an hour ago. So make sure you haven't, I don't know, it's little spelling mistakes, not a big deal. I didn't change anything really. I will be referring to this doc there later on, and there's some good stuff in there, and I tried to make this a little bit more interactive there. We're going to hit some websites, this and that there this week. So without further ado, I'll continue. All right. So welcome to week 7. Can you believe we're halfway done the course? All right. So where we're at. Oh, and I did want to show you I'm going to change the syllabus and course information right here. Now I wanted to, and it's nothing special. It actually works out better. You'll see here right here your quiz 2, and my original thinking was that see, here we are, week 7, okay, and routine practices and all these kinds of things here. Week 8 there, we're going to get into some surgical procedures, surgeon preference, and emergency codes. You'll get into those there. Week 9, medical terminology, evolution of medical terminology, and I was going to have a quiz 2 here, but I like the way things worked out with, test 1 and quiz 1. And the whole saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. All right? So what I am going to do, and I'm going to move this quiz to here. Okay? Because I want the quiz to replicate, to be similar, to prepare you for test 2. Okay? So if there's any objections to that notion, let me know there this week. Okay? Because we have time. We have 3 weeks. We have 4 weeks here. And my original reasoning was having the quiz 2 here so you guys could focus on this stuff and leaving anatomy and physiology out. But I figured there that you guys did so well on the quiz 1, test 1 scenario kind of a thing, that if it's okay with you guys, I'll keep it the same. So ultimately, what will happen is I will move quiz 2 from week 9 to week 10. Okay? And just because I want the quiz 2 to encompass everything, so that it will be a replication. It'll be an absolute preparation there for test 2. So if there's any issues with that there, let me know this week. Other than that, I'm going to go forward with that because you guys did so smashing on. I'm not changing nothing. Okay, so that's where I want it. If that's okay, then if it's okay, don't let me know. If it's not okay, let me know, and we'll make some type of arrangements. Okay, we good? Perfecto. That's where we're at, and this is what I made there. This is that little week 7 Q&A, and it's just, you'll see there today's lecture. We're going to go back a little bit, okay, just to remind you of why we're doing today's class there, and we'll come back to this document there in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. Today we're going to be talking about routine prevention and routine practices in a hospital or healthcare setting. And you think about that, like, it's not really, what do you mean routine? But again, when you're dealing with infectious materials, these kinds of things here, there has to be a policy in place. And are you guys going to be policy makers? I hope so someday. I hope you guys are big wigs there in Queen's Park. Just don't forget about me. Okay. Before I get into anything there for this week, I'm just going to go on. All right. So let's just have a look here. And just a little bit of a tiny review here. You guys will remember your chain of transmission, right? And you have your, wherever you want to start, right? Portal of entry. Okay. Bug gets in, a cut through your nose, however it is. The susceptible host. Now, the whole idea there, this infection agent and the reservoir, how it just sits there, we are just, incubators for viruses, basically. That's what, and that's where we're at, right? And your portal of exit here, this all looks familiar, I hope. And you'll see here, there your modes of transmission. Okay, and if we just kind of take this one out of the sequence of 6 here and just kind of look at that. Okay, and apologies here on if you can't see it. Trying to make these as little more movable as possible, but you'll see here, there your modes of transmission. Okay, there's basically 2 kinds. There's direct and indirect. Where direct contact, we could just zoom right in, okay? And, direct contact infectious agent is transferred from a reservoir to a susceptible host by direct contact or droplet spread. Hugging, kissing, all these kinds of things, right? Direct contact. But then you've got indirect. And we've gone through all these, right? There's airborne transmission. And I know this stuff is older stuff there from test 1, but when you're talking about, MDR-D and these kinds of things, you've got a bag of tricks. So now you guys have quiz 1 and test 1 in your brains. Does it mean I'm not ever going to come back to it? No, we're always going to come back to it. So that's am I going to, like on a testing situation, am I going to focus heavy on stuff that I've already done? No, but this stuff is still fair game, okay? And when it comes to direct and indirect contact there, we've already covered it, but the premises will still hold true, and the applications of where we're going is based on these. That's why I'm kind of regressing and going back and going over this again to remind you why we're doing these MDR-D practices. There's indirect transmission, airborne. Okay. Sorry, I've got this there below. We've got indirect vehicles, right? Like ATMs or any type of inanimate object. Somebody went and then just left the book there in the hallway of the school. Somebody picks up the book. You're infected now, right? Vectors, we've got the mosquitoes here. Okay, we've done this already. Blah, blah, blah. Stop boring me, Ian. All right, let's move on, shall we? Good. So that's what's going on here. So a little bit of review. And since the most common mode of transmission in MDR-D is indirect contact. All right? So that's all these guys here. This is the most common. Okay, that's how the bugs are getting around, indirect. And apologize for the wordiness of some of these, but can't really explain it better than this here. So since the most common mode of transmission in MDR-D is indirect contact, the ongoing challenges involved with safe and correct reprocessing of medical devices, every MDR-D professional must understand the importance of their role in the prevention of infection. Okay, understanding the chain of transmission, how infections are spread, can mean the difference between a positive patient experience and a costly and harmful surgical outcome. Now, and I put this rather wordy slide in here, and I've alluded to it already, is the microbiology, the bugs, the viruses, the prions, the fungi, the bacteria, all these kinds of things, the infectious qualities, ultimately the whole point is the preservation of humankind. And there has to be a reason why we're got our nose in a test tube. Right? There's got to be a reason why I'm doing these bacterial swabs and I'm doing all this and testing for gram staining and this. It's to save human lives. And, you guys are taking this course. I would like to, you know what I mean? This is the whole thing, is that I miss in class, because then I could see you and talk to you and find out where you guys are going and see if I can assist further in your future career. And but I guess with emails we can. But I don't know where you guys are at. If you guys are in the middle of a 3-year program or doing this as a postgraduate, or if you're doing this as a brush up there for a course in a hospital or something. I don't know. But ultimately, this is about saving human lives. So we cannot and we never will negate the human quality, okay? Because today now, in this class here, we're going to be talking about a hospital. And who lives in a hospital? Sick people. Who else is in a hospital? Workers. You've got doctors and nurses, you've got janitorial staff, you've got contractors, you've got ambulancers, police officers in there. There's administrators, there's all these kinds of things. So there are a whole plethora of people within this community, and we're all trying to keep them safe. So you'll see where we're going here, and let's move on. Now, when you're talking routine practices, like that's basically what we're talking about there today, the humdrum walking into a hospital. And you'll see here, what do you mean routine practices in a healthcare way? Well, leaving a hospital. Like and these are going to seem silly, like Ian, what are you bothering me for with these? But now you see, all of these are a potential. They could cause a pandemic, an endemic. They can cause, one of these, and this is the whole thing. Policymakers, committee makers, they do these. Every situation has to be written down. It has to be documented. It has, and we had, what was it? There, even, actually, no, I'll hold off on that story. I got lots of stories, by the way, so let's hold on here. Entering and leaving the hospital. There should be a protocol. And for every hospital, there is. You can't walk in emergency doors. You got to walk in through the main entrance. Okay? It's about filtering people, filtering disease. If sick people are coming into the hospital, we only want the sick people to come into one area. Right? We don't want them coming in all over the hospital, every single door. We've got sick people coming up the basement. No, we don't want that. And as silly as a thing as the idea of entering and leaving a hospital, it's a huge, you just think about the ramifications, right? And a lot of these things there today, maybe you wouldn't think about them as being dangerous. But in a hospital or a healthcare kind of way, we need to change our thinking. And that's what we're going to look at there. This one here is very obvious. After handling blood, body fluid, secretions, excretions, contaminated items, right? Support staff, janitorial staff deal with these kinds of things, secretions, excretions, nurses, PSWs, all over this stuff. And this is routine practices. So it needs to be identified, because then you look at the very word routine. Routine implies boring, common, everyday, right? That's routine. Vacations are not routine, right? That's why they're fun. But routine practices, these are things that are being done every day, every hour, twice a day, these kinds of things. So if they're not done correctly, people are going to die. So routine practices are actually pretty important. And you're going to see how important they are, because the federal government has updated a document, and the Ontario government has taken that document and updated it. So we'll show you all this kind of stuff. When your hands are visibly dirty. Sure. Dirty hands. Man, my hands, do they look dirty? but they could be. Now they are. What do? When you're in contact with different patients, what do you mean routine? If you're going from one patient to another. And I'm not just talking doctor nurses, I'm talking about, x-ray technicians, these kinds of things. PSWs, you're going from one patient to another. Is there a protocol in place? Is there something there to protect the next patient from you because you've just maybe been infected by this patient? See? Simple things that need to be addressed. And that's how, like, you look at the whole aspect of a hospital setting. And ambulance and within a hospital setting, you got to include the ambulance drivers that are out on the road now, because they're bringing people to the hospital setting. All of these different things are important. Between procedures involving clean and dirty equipment, like, what do? If you're moving some clean, sterile stuff, and then you go to work in a dirty area, well, I don't think there would be a problem. But if you're working in a dirty area and then you're asked to go and move some clean, sterile stuff, that'll be an issue, right? Before handling sterile, okay. Even, is there an issue, like, you go back there to, what was that, week 2, where we had a whole PowerPoint slides on how to put on gloves. Remember that? All right. But there's a whole procedure on what you need to do before you put on your gloves and after you take them off. And something very simple can kill people. That's why there's policies. That's why there's mandates. You look at all nurses. I think I've said this to you guys there before. Nurses, 2 o'clock in the morning, they're doing their bedside rounds, and they check on Miss Betty. She's doing all right. BP 120/75 is good. And then Mr. Smith over here. And you notice there that they have a chart right on everyone's bed. Okay, here I'm at Mr. Smith here. Okay, at 8 o'clock there, he had a fruit cup and a cheese sandwich. And, okay, he seems to be doing all right here. Okay. They make you sign your name. Okay, and then you put the chart back down, and then you move on to Miss Jensen over here, or Miss Lee, or wherever, okay? And then the reason why you sign your name is because 20 minutes down the way, Mr. Smith is into cardiac arrest. They're going to go back to the last person who checked Mr. Smith, and that was you. They're going to ask you questions. And you know what I mean? It's all about protecting yourself, because you guys are out there, there's the professionals that are working within the hospital, but then there's the hospital themselves, the patients. There's so many intermediaries, the insurance companies, and all these kinds of things. And ultimately, I want you guys to save humanity, but within there, save yourselves, protect yourselves. And I'm not just talking from, disease. I am talking about disease. Protect yourself from disease. That's why we wear PPE and we do these PPE and we do these processes. But also, you need to protect yourself legally, okay? Because you guys are out there, and mistakes can be costly, okay? So that's why one of the reasons why we're doing this. Yeah. After touching anything, before leaving contaminated areas, after contact with lab specimens, and every hospital has its own policies on top of this. So, you know what I mean? Routine practices is just a rainbow of information, a complete spectrum. And you know what I mean? So we're going to hit on a couple of them there today. Good stuff, though. Let us go. So, I've broken this section up, routine practices national. So this is the federal government, okay? And they've created a policy here, all right? In 1999, Health Canada, it's not called Health Canada anymore. They changed their name, which I have no idea why. They changed their name there to the Public Health Agency of Canad. Canada. And so this is their acronym. Okay, the PHAC. Sounds much better than Health Canada. I don't get it. And they released this document there called Routine Practices and Additional Precautions for Preventing the Transmission of Infection in Healthcare. Crazy title. Let's read that again. Routine Practices and Additional Precautions for Preventing the Transmission of Infection in Healthcare. That tells you how important routine practices are. Okay? And we can go right here and have a look. And this is it right here. No, thank you. I don't want to do a survey. And this is the PHAC. I actually kind of like that name now. PHAC, Public Health Agency of Canada. This is their website there. I've given you guys a link, and you guys can just go and lose yourself in here. Lots of stuff going on. Have a look at it, okay? I want to go back here. The concepts of routine practices, it actually replaces a former document there. I'm not interested in any of this here. Former concepts of body, substance, precautions, universal precautions. These are just older versions. I don't care. I would never test you on that. So let it leave your mind. Okay? What's important is up here. All right? That this is no joke. And these whole idea of routine practices, that's what's going on here. You have a look here. Routine practices, they're provincial. Okay? And in Ontario, PDAC, another acronym. And that's one of the, I hate these acronyms. You're going to have 100 of them by the end of this course. Okay? But the PDAC there, the Provincial Infectious Disease Advisory Committee, okay, is a multidisciplinary committee, healthcare professionals with expertise and experience in infection prevention and control, and they advise Public Health Ontario, okay, on the prevention and control of healthcare associated infections regarding clients, patients, residents, staff, everything. And you look at all these different stakeholders, and we use this word stakeholder. And a stakeholder is a person of interest in a particular idea. And let's just look at McDonald's. Look at all the stakeholders that are in a McDonald's organization. You have the customer, you have the client, right? You have the workers, you have the owner of the particular McDonald's. Okay, you have McDonald's corporate, which I think is, where is McDonald's corporate? Is that in Ohio? I don't know where it is, somewhere in there. Okay, and a stakeholder is a person of interest that has an interest in a particular idea. And this is one of the things that I want you guys to start thinking about, is that every time you guys walk into a healthcare facility, think about all the stakeholders that are involved here. Insurance companies, you got the owner of the building, he's collecting rent, you've got the support staff, janitorial staff, you've got MDs, you've got nurses, NPs, nurse practitioners, which are the new family doctor. Nurse practitioners, we have one. They're awesome. Okay? The nursing, my grandma's a nurse, mom's an NP, sister's a nurse. We're into nurses. Nurses are awesome. If you're ever you have any questions about nurse practitioners and their competency and anything like that, let me know. Nurses are awesome. Love them. Have a look here. I've got a couple more links here. This is the link there for Public Health Ontario. Okay. And, you know, you can get all up to date on anything there you guys need to know. Okay. It's a good little link. And if you guys are using, you guys are in other courses, these kinds of things, writing papers. There's no papers or anything there as far as this course goes, but these are two of the websites there that you guys should have saved on your desktop, okay? Because you're not going to get anything more up to date than Public Health Ontario or PHAC. I like that. I'm going to use that from now on. Public Health. What's the A of Canada? I forget. Right there. Where is it? PHAC. Right here. Public Health Agency of Canada. There we go. Good enough. And I wanted to show you guys here this routine practices and additional precautions. And so what the Public Health Ontario has done is they've actually, right there, they've updated, okay, PHAC's version. And you'll see it's all in here. And you'll see here, taking off N95, putting on, taking off masks, all these kinds of things. View more. They're all in here. So if you guys are in health-related courses and doing health-related stuff and doing research and these kinds of things, these websites, man, they are what you need because they got the finest people working on these things to make them as up-to-date as possible, okay? So the routine practices and additional precautions is all here. And I just want to go back to it right here. So this is the actual best practices document, okay? But it's all, there's all sorts of stuff right here, and I don't even have enough time to go through it. The only thing that I have is I have enough time there to show it to you. But you guys can go all three, hand hygiene, best practices, and all these kinds of things here. Infection control and control complaint protocol, all sorts of good stuff. Okay, so have these close by if you're ever looking to do any research or anything like that kind of stuff. Okay. So routine practices. These are the things that we're going to talk about there today. The two topics there, we've got routine practices, and then at the end there we'll do a little bit of infection prevention and control in hospitals. But the routine practices here, we're going to be talking about performing a risk assessment. Okay? And then hand hygiene. Yes, we're doing hand hygiene again, but I'm not doing it. All right. PPE. We've gone through PPE and hand hygiene. We're going to look at them, though, from a different perspective, though. Okay? Environmental control and administrative control. Okay? And you can see different stakeholders in here, can't you? Administrative control. Okay? These wouldn't be anyone working in the OR. These would be people working on the top floor of the hospital, right? Environmental controls. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. Let's keep on moving, shall we? So, just to, I'm going to try and move this down here. I think that'll go down there. Will it? Yes, it will. Good. Okay. So, what we've got here, and I have this little cutout thing all over the place. You'll see that it's here and here, just to kind of remind you what about these routine practices. But the routine practices for the MDRD, okay, so the above practices, their aim is to control the spread of pathogens, regularly review these safety measures, okay, because things need to be updated. Like things, since COVID-19 has altered our lives forever, all of these practices have been updated since. Okay? And to ensure that they are put into active daily practice. Because you can write down policy. You can write down policy, but if it doesn't work, then what good is it? Right? And so you can write down policy as much as you want, but then you have to see it in action. And is there anything there that can be amended, fixed, cleaned up? Okay, these kinds of things. And it's really crucial there for personnel working in the decontamination area. Because these people here, if they're working in the decontamination area, they are now infectious, quote unquote, right? And so we need to know what to do in these particular situations. So, like, as we were talking about there, there's policies and procedures, blah, blah, blah. There's so many policies. And every hospital has their own. And as we said there earlier, you look at, these things here, entering and leaving a hospital. There's a policy, there's a rule written on how to enter a hospital and how to leave a hospital. As silly as it sounds. Okay. Where'd I go now? Am I here? I'm here. There's always continuing education. Always. Things have to be updated all the time. Even there's, honestly, I've been so busy, I totally forgot about MDR week in October. Silly. And you'll see here that the medical device reprocessing week we missed it. I missed it. Maybe you didn't miss it. I did. Just a crazy couple of weeks, man. But the second full week of each October is dedicated to celebrate the activities performed in medical device reprocessing departments. Okay? And, that's how big time this is. It really, really is. And if COVID-19 didn't make it even bigger, I don't know what did. Okay? So this is first and forefront center of the world right now, MDRD. And you guys are right at you guys are doing it, man. Proud of you guys. So, now that I'm into that, I need to get back into here. Regulatory review, make sure that they put all, everything is put into daily practice, especially in the decontamination area. Employee competency assessments and performance evaluations for MDRD personnel. And whether you look at these, and we are actually starting to see these routine practices, because of COVID-19, COVID-19 has altered our lives there. People were out of work, and, families have been devastated by it, from a financial point of view, economic point of view. But now you look at we're into this after stages where, these policies and procedures are going to be affecting people's lives. And whether you agree with it or not, what's going on across the country is you've got to be vaccinated. You have to be, or you're going to lose your job. And you know what I mean? I don't really want to get into the politics of it all, and whether you agree with it or disagree with it and all this kind of stuff. It is what it is. And you got to have this vaccine passport in order to go out for lunch at a restaurant. And society's changing, and the policies and procedures. And this is what I was kind of talking about at the start was, yes, the microbiology aspect is important, but the reason why we're looking at these bugs, the reason why is because of people. And now you bring in people into the microbiology world. Now you need to have policies and procedures in place to protect people. Because the information there, you guys know, generally the greater public doesn't. That's policies and procedures, man. These are for medical practitioners, medical specialists, people involved in the field. This is, and maybe this stuff seems, washing your hands and these kinds of things. But generally, people need to be taught these things. Okay? Like teach my daughter there, when you're washing your hands, you sing row, row, row your boat. Is it 2 or 3 times or 2 times, I think. And that's how you know when your hands are washed. So just little things like this, people having to get their virus, the passports there in order to live their lives. And, you see a big problem of this going on in the States, and people who are unvaccinated, it's just giving the virus more of a reservoir, that should mean something to you, to grow, develop, and you know how these things work there. Through genetic variability, we get new variants, and apparently there's a new Delta variant out there now that is even more communicable. And this is the thing: people who are not vaccinated, I think they have 1,000% more chance of dying and for spreading the disease, because even people who are double vaccinated, are still susceptible. And the susceptibility doesn't really come from the double vaccination. It comes from the fact that people people have cancer, people have heart disease, people have all these other things going on that A, they can't get into the hospital because there's COVID patients in there. B, these people are already immunocompromised, okay, because of the cancer, because of all these other things, and now a little bit of COVID will whack them right out. So this is one of the things, and whether you're pro-vax or anti-vax, this is where the future's going, and we all have our vaccines. We all get immunized there when we're young, right? We get rubella and mumps and chicken pox and all these kinds of things when we're 2 and 3 years old, right? Even some of them there before. It looks like we've got more coming, and that's just the way of the future. Okay. To start off first, when we're dealing there with routine practices, I'm just going to slide that over there. The first one we're going to talk about there is performing a risk assessment. And these risk assessments, these are things there that people working in these kinds of situations in a hospital, you will be dealing with this hourly, if not on a minute-by-minute basis. Now, a risk assessment isn't, you get a report and, all right, now, what happened here, there, okay, all right, I'm going to document. No, this is just something that goes on in your brain. Risk assessment. You're looking, you're identifying, you're always watching, okay? And the risk assessment must be performed with consideration given to the task at hand. So, if you're changing a dirty bed or a soiled bed, or if you're changing a garbage can, or if you're reprocessing some scalpels, every task is different. So the risk for every task is different. And that is now on you as the practitioner. Okay? These risk assessments, you will be doing them basically unconsciously. Okay? And don't be unconscious. But everywhere there is risk. And in hospitals, there is more danger than you can shake a stick at. No joke. Okay? And let's go on. Appropriate PPE must be determined and available for all staff at all times. So for every single job, and you have to look at that in a hospital. There's 100 different jobs. Everyone's got their own PPE specified to their position. Okay? Decontamination area, you would need full PPE. Okay? MDRD to break the chain of infection, right? That's the whole point. We just need to break it at one. Both staff and patients must be protected from exposure to infectious agents. And that's just the whole thing. Boy, it's cold. Oof. I don't know if it's cold there where you guys are at, but it's chilly willy up here. And again, the whole point is to protect, right? But every job is different. Everyone goes into different rooms, okay? And these rooms there, we need to know what's in them. We need to protect each other from it and protect me from you and you from him and her from her and them from them. And all right, that's what it's all about. So these performing risk assessments, these are things that you will do all of the time. And you know what? This is a good one there to even take with you through life. Because even walking down the street there these days can be dangerous. Risk assessing. We do it all the time, actually. Make sure that you do, okay? Performing risk assessments there, measures to protect the staff. Appropriate vaccinations. Welcome to it. You're not vaccinated, you're going to have a difficult time working, okay? In a college there, college requires me to have a vaccine passport, okay? I'm a provincial employee, governmental employee, basically that's what we are. Yeah, it is, whether you agree with it or disagree with it, it's a tough place to be. And I've been double vaxxed, and You know, it just needs to get done. It needs to get done. No food, of course, you know what I mean? And all these kinds of things, right? And don't think of this as me showing you, trying to give you guys information. Look at this there from a board of directors point of view. From, let's say you were working in the PDAC committee, okay? And you are trying to create policy for routine infectious disease prevention, right? And these are important things, like washing your hands. As silly as it is, it's got to be in here. Wearing appropriate PPE, assuming all devices received in the decontamination area are contaminated. That was one of the questions there in the test, I think, that if the questionability about how clean something is, if there is a questionability, get it out of here. If I don't know if it's sterile, then it's not sterile. Go and make it sterile, right? Handling all items, medical devices with care to prevent needle sticks and exposure to mucous membranes, skin, blood, body fluids, right? So who is going to be, like, our janitors going to be working with mucous membrane, skin, blood, body fluids? Well, you know what I mean? They could be. People there, PSWs changing sheets, these kinds of things, and they need to be protected. Okay? Performing manual cleaning and brushing with cleaning solutions to prevent aerosol and airborne spread of contamination. That's why hospitals smell very chemically. Chemically. Is that actually a word? Chemical-like? Hospitals smell like chemicals. There we go. Good enough. And because they're trying to cut down on the spread. Ensuring surfaces are clean and dry. Now, ensuring that surfaces are clean and dry. How would you do a risk assessment of that? Well, the only way is it needs to be timed. Okay, when was the last time this counter was cleaned? Okay, I can check. It was 2 p.m. on Thursday. What? No, this counter needs to be cleaned twice a day, 3 times on Saturdays, whatever it is. And you'll notice there that in the bathrooms there, when the bathrooms have been checked, even at McDonald's there's a signature on there, because who cleaned the bathroom last and at what time. It's policy, it's mandated, it's recorded. You think those sheets there on the inside of a bathroom that say it was last cleaned at 2 o'clock there today, they don't throw those out. Those go into a file, because if there's any issues, let's say somebody slipped and fell last Tuesday at 2 o'clock, or something happened in the bathroom, we need to know exactly. So everything is documented, policy in place, no surprises. Okay? And just getting back into here, you see brushing and cleaning there with cleaning solution. Okay? Like my wife there, she works in a salon and cutting hair and these kinds of things. And you need these solutions. Am I a fan of these solutions? No. Do I have any of these cleaning solutions in my house? No. The only cleaning solution I have is isopropyl alcohol. I go to Walmart and I buy a 1-liter bottle of it for $3. And I have you get a spray bottle there from the dollar store for $1. I put the alcohol into the spray. That's my cleaning solution, and it evaporates there in about 5 seconds. So, but these cleaning solutions, you can try and clean as best you can, but submerging something into a solution, now you're on the atomic level, and fluids, just their very properties on a physics nature, they encompass everything anyway. So submerging something in a cleaning solution is definitely a really good way to clean it. Okay. Sharpies. I wanted to include these because I spoke about these there earlier, and you guys can see there that we're not really moving forward. We're kind of dragging what we've already learned with us, and it's not really we're moving forward. Maybe the information ahead is moving towards us. That's what a kind of a thing here. But I wanted to include this there about Sharpies there. These things here, they have their own box that they go into, okay? And it's a plastic box. Usually it's yellow or orange. It'll have, see if I can zoom in here. Right here. And you'll see this biohazard sign in here. Okay. These are where your Sharpies go. They just go all right in here, and then they'll all get reprocessed. Things don't come out of this box here until they get reprocessed. Okay. But that's that one. Again, not to overdo sharps, but if there's an issue in the lab or somewhere, somebody gets cut, there's an incident report. Like in the lab there, like I tell my students, I'll never forget. I was doing an intro health science course, and we were dissecting cow's heart. And I had one student holding the left ventricle of the cow's heart over here. I had another student holding the right ventricle. This is on the tabletop, right? So I had one student holding the left ventricle, another student holding the right ventricle, and another student with a scalpel blade coming right in like this. I go, no, stop, stop, stop. Only one person is allowed, and the person with the scalpel is in control. Everyone else is out of the way, right? Because if one of my students cuts themselves with those scalpels, those things are as sharp as anything. Hate them. But any one of my students gets cut, oh my goodness, now you've got security and possible ambulance. The dean is called. All these kinds of reports are made. It's a horrible thing. But funny enough, if I cut myself, nobody cares, right? That's all right. So I tell my students, don't cut yourself. It's all good. Broken glass, let me pick it up, that kind of a thing. But you'll see there that this is just an incident report there. Every hospital will have its own incident report. Okay? And you'll see how it all goes. And it's serious stuff, man. Because this, I was saying there earlier, protecting yourself legally. People are suing everybody. People are suing each other for, I couldn't believe it there when, I don't know, maybe this was 10, 20 years ago, somebody went and got a cup of coffee from McDonald's, and I guess the lid wasn't on it. And that's why every McDonald's coffee or Tim Hortons coffee now has caution, very hot, written on it, so that they can not be sued by you if you drop it on your lap. But yeah, you just got to be careful, because people are, that's another side. The people are looking, there's a possibility there people could be looking to sue if something happens to them negatively at the hospital's expense. Okay. What else we got here? So there's your risk assessment. We're done with that. It's not too bad. It's just the whole idea of identifying risks, preparing for them, putting these risks into policy, knowing that the risks are there, and providing all of the means to do a job safely and go home safely. Okay. Hand hygiene. And again, you guys have seen this there before. And you look at hand hygiene and frequency, like, when do you wash your hands? All the time in a hospital setting. And you could dry wash them there with alcohol. You could use soap and water. Whatever policies existed and whatever's acceptable for your institution, it is what it is. That's fine. But hand hygiene frequency when entering and leaving a hospital. Same thing there for my biolabs. Oh yeah, man. You walk into my biosafety level 2 lab there. You've got, you alcohol your hands first, and then you wash them. And then you spray down your alcohol, you spray down your counter, you do your lab. At the end of it all, you clean everything up, you spray everything down again, and as you leave the lab, you wash your hands, and then you alcohol them. That's the policy. That's what it is, right? And it might be overkill, but I don't care, because I want to get home safe, right? And like, when your hands are visibly dirty, wash them. Between contact with patients and patient equipment. See, these are kind of we've already covered these, but now we're dealing with a different aspect. Washing hands, touching your face, washing your hands. Do you wash your hands there before putting on gloves? and all these kinds of things, right? Eating, drinking after lunch. When you leave the lab, you go for a coffee break. Do you come back in? There's got to be policy. Okay. PPE, we covered that there. I'm not going into the specifics again, but what I am going to do is the PPE, and this is kind of specific, unique to the MDRD or even the operating room. Okay, and because the operating room, that's got to be as sterile can be, right? So, and you just have a look here. There's some of the things there that are unique to the MDRD. Not unique to all businesses, you know what I mean? Boots, shoe coverings. Okay, like some places there, you'll have boots that never leave the building. They're only internal boots, right? Because we want to maintain, we want to be microbe free. Sometimes companies there will provide shoe coverings, warned to provide additional protection. Do you reuse them? Do you not reuse them? Generally there with shoe covers, no. Generally don't. You just throw them away. Okay, hair covers. If reusable hair covers are used, they must be washed by hospital or contract laundry and must be changed daily. You don't reuse these single head use. Beard coverings, that's a whole nother issue. Okay, single use and disposed of after each one. Face masks. Okay, warned to help prevent the spread of germs, viruses, bacteria from one person to another. They're, all these kinds of things here. And and as boring as this sounds, they are one part of an infection control strategy that should also include frequent hand washing, personal distance. Face masks should not be shared as they may become contaminated with germs. Okay, as boring as it sounds, you guys already know all these kinds of things, but I'm just talking about policy making. Okay, and the hospital side of what's going on in a routine practice. Okay. Environmental controls. Okay. You guys can get where we're at right here. All right. And this is where we're at. Environmental controls. Those kids, man. Appropriate placement and bed spacing. We're talking about the logistics here, where things go. The next time you walk into a hospital and you see a garbage can over there, that garbage can was planned by the architects. You could lift that garbage can and move it over here, but everything in a hospital is there for a reason. Okay? And cleaning of equipment being used by more than one patient may be the responsibility of the department staff or the MDRD, but the equipment must be cleaned and disinfected between each use. Who's going to do that? Who's going to know when to do it? This patient is moving here. Okay. Cleaning of the healthcare environment, which includes safe handling of soiled linens and wastes. Engineering controls such as eating, ventilation, and air conditioning. Okay. Sorry, that's not eating. That should be heating. Okay. It is important to have the HVAC properly maintained. And you look at that. The air conditioning, the vents, everything there you can't see. Are those vectors for bugs to get through? And in a lot of cases, they can be. And the HVAC, the air filters there, there's called a HEPA. And I'll just write that here for you guys. HEPA filter, okay, it's right here. This gets out bacteria. It's such a fine filter that we get the air filter there that we can pass air through, and it filters out bugs, okay? Very important because you're talking about protecting people. People coming into the hospital is a major source of infection. People getting infection from a hospital, right? And again, point of care, sharps container, okay, these kinds of things. So environmental control, this is what we're talking about here. Cleaning of MDR areas and housekeeping, okay? Garbage pickup, soiled linen pickup, okay, sharps container pickup. These guys here were dropping things off. And you have to think, there's two aspects going on here. There is the cleaning of the soiled bed sheets This is, we're taking the dirty bed sheets off of the bed in room H232. Now, what do I do with this dirty bed sheet? Okay, that's one part. And now you take it to the decontamination area. What do you do with it again? Like, you almost have to put a job under a microscope and overthink things in order to prepare the policy enough to keep these individuals safe. So this is all the stuff that goes on before, afterwards here. Soiled linen pickup, sharp container pickup, workstation cleaning. I don't know, do you do it twice, 3 times a shift? All these kinds of things. The washing sinks, disinfecting, cleaning brushes, all these kinds of things. These are all environmental controls. And environment, we're talking about the environment in which you're in. And it's a huge heating, air conditioning, windows being open, doors having access, logistics of beds and bathrooms. Like, it's just massive. Okay? So there's lots going on there, environmental controls. Administrative controls. This is the last one there that we're going to be chatting about here. And again, it's all about policy. Policies and procedures there to protect staff from the risk of infection and transmission. Again, educating staff about infection and transmission there. Immunization programs, hepatitis B, COVID-19. You'll see there that the government is it's just spending millions on trying to get people to the remainder of people there getting their vaccinations. And I hope that people do. I really do, because it's really looking to move on and start living life again. Okay, so the additional precautions, I put this in here at the end, and these precautions here are used in addition to routine practices when dealing with troublesome infectious diseases. Okay, you guys have heard this one right here, MRSA. Okay, this one here is pretty much resistant to everything that we have, even vancomycin. Okay, I think there was another test question. MDRD staff may see special signage on a patient's door that will provide instructions about additional precautions. Okay, a good understanding of transmission of infection will enable the employee to select and follow the most appropriate additional transmission-based practices while ensuring that routine practices are maintained. And I apologize for the wordiness. I put this in here on purpose just to kind of show you how policy, the wording, can't be any disparaging ideas about what it means. And policy working has got to be long and dragged out and boring. And I'm not going to read it again because I don't want you guys to fall asleep. But if you guys decide to read that again, you'll see how specific it is. Okay, a good understanding of the transmission of infections will enable the employee to select the following most appropriate additional transmission-based practice. So the hospital has to make sure that this employee has the information. Okay. Additional precautions here. We've got contact. Now, and you even look here, carrying boxes. You've got your uniform in the hospital. Maybe it's your job to carry boxes from the back of the truck into how are you going to carry these boxes? You're going to carry the box close on your chest? Now this dirty box is going to be on your uniform. Okay? So clean, sterile gowns and gloves are to be worn when providing direct patient care, limit movement and transport of patients from their room, maintain routine practices, hand hygiene. You're going to see this on all of them. Okay, so we've got additional precautions. Droplets, common cold, influenza, COVID-19. Healthcare provider must wear surgical mask when working with 2 meters of patient. Placed, you know what I mean? And these are just when you're dealing, and you might see these. What do you do? Additional precautions. Your manager must warn you about this and provide you with PPE in order to do your job. And please remember, if you don't feel safe doing a job, don't do it. Nobody can fire you for that. Okay? And right here, I provided you guys there the link with this. This is, again, I think this is Public Health Ontario. Yes, it is. And this is this little thing here on droplets, okay? And this is COVID-19 droplets and contact precautions, acute facilities. Now, how do I get back to this? And this is this one right here. Important stuff. And again, hand hygiene, patient placement, environment and equipment, PPE, patient transport, visitors. Okay? These are all these different stakeholders involved in this. And this is why policy making is not easy. Okay? Oh, sorry. I went too far. Additional precautions there. Airborne, TB, measles, chickenpox. Okay? Different precautions. Isolation room must have negative pressure, and the doors must be kept closed at all the time. Okay? All these different things here. And I just wanted to show you guys these, okay? And this is the last part here. I think we've only got a couple more slides here. And my son is crying in the bathroom here, so I'm going to fly through these in a couple of minutes here. Infection prevention and control in hospitals. IPAC professionals, procurement of new devices, changes in MDR practices should be approved by IPAC. The IPAC sets goals and objectives there to adopt quality control measures with the hope that all will minimize HAI. And you guys will remember what that is. That is infections caused by going to the hospital. Ugh, breaks my heart. In hospitals, there are infection prevention and control professionals who will function as a resource for any infection prevention and control issue. Okay, so hospitals have people, that is their job. There is also an infection prevention and control committee. The MDRD is a part of the IPAC committee. Okay, so every in IPAC, infection prevention and control. Okay, that's what that one means. All right, so MDRD is a part of IPAC, has to be. Okay, which sets goals and objectives to adopt quality control measures. All right, so this is Shire. You're gonna have to wait, buddy. Thank you. 5 years old. The world revolves around me, right? And I just want to go into these guys here. There's 3 of them here, and then we're done. Attire, personal hygiene, and work environment. Okay. And again, there's nothing. Honestly, I don't think there really is anything in this PowerPoint there that you guys didn't really already know already. Maybe except for a couple little things. But I just wanted to expose you to the other side of the coin now. Okay? The prevention, the policy making, the thinking about all the different stakeholders involved in a scenario. Because I want you guys to rule the world one day. I want you guys to make everything awesome. That's why you guys are taking this course, to better yourselves, better your community. Okay? Attire, are uniforms changed daily? If they're not, what's the procedure for all these when carrying supplies, equipment? Should they be held away from the body? Why are you carrying a 20-kilogram box with your bare hands anyway? Where's your cart? That box could be dirty. I don't want that cart. I don't want that box touching me. Cleaning process should be from clean to dirty. Of course, all medical devices must be disinfected before being sent to assembly side. Any item that falls on the floor is considered dirty. Employees should try to keep their hands away from their faces. Employees should never use any products, okay, that are questionable. Wearing good footwear that is not open-toed, has good grip, and is safe. If footwear is not available, then hopefully foot covers. These kinds of things, okay? Personal hygiene in order to be effective. There's an interesting one there in here. I'm going to take you guys there and show you guys even fingernails. Hospitals have policies on fingernails. Should be kept short and clean. And, sorry, that should be nail polish. I'll update this PowerPoint there right now. And nail polish or false nails Okay? Must not be, they really don't want them in the hospital because nail polish provides a smell, which is an irritant. Okay? Acetone. All right? False nails there, they can fall off. Well, what? You think you're doing open heart surgery with false nails? One of you know what I mean? No. All right. So nails should be natural, clean, and no longer than 0.6 centimeters. Like that number came right from the book. Okay, as this book is pretty good for some things, but somebody made this policy. Not 1 centimeter, not 1.2 centimeter, 0.6 centimeter. All right. No jewelry, piercings, or open wounds, like just a cut. All right. A paper cut or something like that. That should be covered there with some type of waterproof band-aid or adhesive or all these kinds of things. But jewelry, piercings, all these things, bacteria love hanging out on those things. Eating, drinking, smoking, applying cosmetics or lip balm, handling of contact lenses must not take place in the MDRD. And what I mean, the MDRD is the area where you're working there. Okay? All these kinds of things should be left in lockers. And this is policy. And is this universal policy? No. But, I'm just trying to introduce you guys to different kinds of policy. Because I hope you guys will make it. I hope you guys will make policy there someday. Last one there, work environment. And you'll see there's a lot of things here that are the same. All right? But, any item that falls on the floor must be reprocessed. All these kinds of things here. What do you do after break, before break, at the end of the day, all these kinds of things. So that is that. And I just wanted to show you guys this one right here. And I made this there. Some of these questions there, they come from chapter 5. So they come right from here. I wasn't sure if you guys had the answers or not, so I gave you guys the answers. Now, you just go to chapter 5 in here in your book, and some of the questions there are in there. Or some of these questions in here all come from chapter 5. Okay, the numbering might be a little different. You may have to find name 6 links. I don't think it'll be listed as number 1 because a lot of the questions there in chapter 5 I'm not going to test you on. And you'll see here that this one right here we did already. Is it still relevant? Absolutely. Name the 6 links there in the chain of transmission. Okay, and you guys have seen all these there before. Define asepsis. You guys have seen that there before. Name the 5 modes of transmission: contact, droplet, airborne, common, vehicle, vector. What is the most common mode of transmission? Okay. It's indirect. Yes, it's indirect. Sorry. I don't know what happened there. I'm going to update that one. What is the difference between direct and indirect? There you go. You guys got all these. What does the concept of routine practices replace? It replaces that one there. Provide 12 examples when personnel should wash their hands. And when should risk assessment be considered? Must be performed with consideration given the task at hand. Okay, so somebody doing a job, you're actually risk assessing all the time. And take a second there and actually do a risk assessment, and get good at it because it may just save your life. Okay, list 8 administrative controls, and this is there from the slide there, but I put these in here just to show you guys policies and procedures to protect staff and risk of infection and transmission. Yes, educating staff about infection and infection transmission. Healthy workplace policies to protect staff and exclude staff when they are ill with a communicable disease. What do you do when you're sick? Do you stay home? Do you go to work? All these kinds of things. These are administrative controls. Immunization programs such as Hep B and COVID-19. All hospitals are mandating immunization for COVID-19. That's policy. Respiratory etiquette such as covering coughs, Compliance monitoring with feedbacks in relation to infectious prevention. Okay. Getting customer feedback is so important, because maybe, and it's just like kind of, it goes back to, if you just take the analogy that I'm the administrative control and I'm making your tests, and I'm making your tests with you guys in mind, but then I make a question there that doesn't make any sense to you guys let me know. There's your customer feedback, and I update. And in this case here, I canceled one of the questions, and I might cancel a couple others too. Okay. So in MDRD, where personnel work, okay, in both clean and contaminated areas, have a read of these. I provided you guys there the answers because I want you guys to have the answers. You guys have paid the money for the course. I'm not going to make you guys guess. Here are the answers. MDRD personnel should maintain natural and clean, healthy nails with tips trimmed. There you go. MDR staff must also have good understanding and follow medical aseptic practices such as all of these guys here. List 5 environmental controls: appropriate placement and bedding spaces. Okay, cleaning of equipment being used by more than one patient. Okay, even the very fact that computers, maybe hospitals don't close; they're 24 hours, right? And even computers. If you're using the same computer as somebody did there in the morning shift, well, is there a policy in place? Yeah, spray it down with alcohol, clean it all down, disinfect, all these kinds of things, right? And that's what I've got there for today. I have no idea what time it is. Oh my gosh, it's 10:30. How are you guys doing? I'm going to stop recording, and